Hi there, my name's Lauren and you're on my channel Lauren's Lines, and today I'm painting this little landscape scene. These are the colours that I'll be using. They are Winsor Newton's designer gouache. There's a lot of ultramarine blue. A lot. A little bit of viridian green. Yellow ochre. And a little bit of permanent white, which turns into a lot of permanent white. This little scene that I'm painting is from Loch Garten up in the Cairngorms of Scotland, up in the Highlands. And the reason we were there is because there is an Osprey Centre. If you don't know what an osprey is, it's this big bird of prey, raptor, eagle looking like bird. They're really big and they eat just fish. Yeah, and they're beautiful. They've got these lovely golden eyes, and they don't have that like heavy brow that a lot of birds of prey have. It makes them look really angry, so they're a little bit more friendly looking. Yeah, and we were lucky enough to see some of the osprey that were there. Yeah, the osprey that we saw was named EG because that's the two letters that are on her leg band identification bag is E and G, so she's EG. And we were quite lucky that she was still there. Normally, if they have an unsuccessful year, which means that if they don't have any chicks, then they would have already migrated by the time that we were there. But she was still hanging around, and she'd caught a fish. Funnily enough, she'd not caught a fish from this body of water that I'm painting, which is Loch Garten, where she lives, but from a fish farm a little bit further, a couple of miles away, near Aviemore, where she's quite often seen eating the fish out of the fish farm, but they don't seem to mind too much. I guess it's a bit easier pickings at a fish farm, obviously, because they're all just there. Yeah, so it's lovely to be able to see her. So when I say that they had an unsuccessful year and they didn't have any chicks, if they had chicks, they would have still been there, sort of, looking after them and rearing them. And then the parents migrate early and they leave the chicks all alone by themselves to figure out how to migrate for themselves. And they generally make it down to like the south of Portugal and Africa for the winter months. Yeah, but EG was still here. She's still hanging around. She was unsuccessful. Her mate that she normally has didn't show up this year, so they're not sure what happened to him. Either hopefully he's not dead, but it quite possibly could be, or he didn't migrate up, or they're not sure what happened to him. He was not a tagged osprey, so they don't really know where he is, which is why it's quite handy to have the tags on the ospreys, so they can sort of see where they are, where they were born, where they get to, because obviously they do this huge migration every year or every other year. Yeah, but she had a new mate this year who was also not tagged, and they think he was a much younger male, and this might have been his first time having a mate, and so he didn't bring in the fish that she would have needed because she was sitting on the eggs. She couldn't go fishing for herself, so he needed to bring in the fish, and he just didn't deliver. So she was sort of forced to leave the eggs and go fish for herself, and then so they were left unincubated for a certain amount of time, so they probably wouldn't have hatched. They did say that when they were due to hatch 3 days before, a pine mutton climbed up into the nest and ate them all, so all of the eggs. So they definitely didn't hatch because they were eaten, but they probably wouldn't have hatched anyway because they weren't incubated properly. Yeah. Oh, if you don't know what a pine mutton is, it's kind of like a sort of like a weasel, or not like a ferret. They've got a bigger head than a ferret, but they're very cute, so you should always look up what a pine mutton looks like. They're very sweet. It's funny, before we went to the Osprey Centre, I was never really that interested in big birds of prey or anything like that, but having seen them, and they are big, and they're just beautiful, amazing birds. So yeah, I've definitely been drawing a lot of osprey since then. I mean, this, you can just see one on the other side of the page. Yeah, definitely sparked my love for them, and I definitely keep up with them because you can drive down to other sort of nesting spots and that sort of thing and hear about the ospreys there and where they've been and all this sort of stuff. They've got lives kind of like a soap opera. For this painting that I'm doing at the moment, I'm working on, well, trying a different sort of system of going, or starting really quite opaque and watery and then building up the opaqueness. So painting the same bit over and over, getting thicker and thicker paint each time. So you could definitely see that when I did the sky and the water as well, which I think worked quite well. It was quite infuriating because the first couple of layers always look ugly because they're so watered down and they don't look right. But yeah, it's quite cool. So here is the finished shot. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Like and subscribe, and I really appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.